Mendeecees Harris, a name that's no stranger to controversy, is now caught in one of the biggest scandals of his life. A woman has come forward, claiming she's been hiding a secret that could destroy everything. And that secret? A baby. Not just any baby, Mendeecees' alleged child. The internet is on fire. Fans are in absolute shock, and Yandy Smith? She's completely blindsided. This woman insists that she and Mendeecees had a secret affair, and now she's ready to tell the world the truth. But here's where things get even crazier. She says she has receipts, screenshots, messages, and even a paternity test demand that could change everything. Yandy, known for always standing by her man, is now facing a painful reality. Is this the ultimate betrayal? Is Mendeecees really hiding a secret child from his own wife? Or is this woman just clout chasing for fame? One thing's for sure, this drama is far from over. And by the time you hear everything, you won't believe how deep the scandal really goes. The storm began with a single Instagram post, a cryptic message that sent shockwaves through social media and left fans scrambling for answers. It's time for the truth to come out. You can't run from this forever. The world deserves to know. That was all it said. No name, no tags, just a simple statement. But within minutes, the internet was buzzing with speculation. Fans flooded the comments section. What's she talking about? Who is this for? Girl, spill the tea. It didn't take long before clues started falling into place. People dug through her profile, looking for any hints. And then, someone found an old picture of her at a love and hip-hop event. That's when the pieces started connecting. Within an hour, one name started trending across platforms: Mendeecees Harris. At first, people brushed it off. Another attention seeker, another clout chaser. But then, things took a shocking turn. The woman behind the post, who went by the name Tasha Monroe, dropped a bombshell that no one saw coming. She went live. The screen lit up, and there she was, a young woman in her mid-20s, her long dark curls cascading over her shoulders. She had a look in her eyes that was dead serious. Her lips pressed together as she took a deep breath. The chat exploded instantly. Girl, what's the tea? We ready. Spill it. Oh, she looks mad. Tasha's fingers trembled as she held the phone, her voice a little shaky. I didn't want to do this, she began. I really didn't. But I've been left with no choice. I've been ignored, dismissed, and told to keep quiet. But I won't be silent anymore. The chat was flying at lightning speed. And then she said it. Mendeecees Harris is the father of my child. Boom. Social media went into a frenzy. Twitter exploded. Screenshots from the live spread like wildfire. Blogs, gossip pages, even major entertainment news sites. Everyone was talking about it. Within minutes, #MendeeceesExposed was trending. But Tasha wasn't done. She leaned in closer to the camera, her voice trembling slightly. I know what people are gonna say. She's lying. She wants attention. She's making it up. I get it. But I have proof. And I'm ready to show it. And then, she did something no one expected. She held up a photo, a picture of a baby boy. This is my son, she said, her voice heavy with emotion. And Mendeecees, this is your son. The internet broke. Comments flooded in. That baby looks just like him. Oh, hell no. Yandy gonna use her mind. I need to see a DNA test before I believe this. Tasha's hands were shaking as she continued. I kept this to myself for too long, she whispered. I thought he would do the right thing. I thought he would be a man. But he disappeared, blocked me, acted like I never existed, like our baby never existed, and I'm done playing nice. The chat erupted again, but the real question now was, did Yandy know? Meanwhile, at the Harris household, it was late at night when Yandy's phone started buzzing uncontrollably. At first, she ignored it, assuming it was just another random notification. But when the texts from her closest friends started coming in, all asking the same question, her stomach dropped. Girl, did you see what's happening online? Tell me this ain't true. Yandy, check Instagram now. Her hands trembled as she unlocked her phone, and the moment she saw Tasha's face on her screen, her heart sank. She clicked on the live, but it had already ended. Instead, she was met with hundreds, no, thousands of reposts, clips, and screenshots. And then she saw it. The photo of the baby. The child that, according to Tasha, belonged to Mendeecees. Yandy's world starts crumbling. She sat frozen for what felt like an eternity. This couldn't be real. Not again. Not after everything they had been through. Her hands clenched into tight fists. The rage, the confusion, the betrayal. She turned slowly, her heart pounding in her chest as she locked eyes with Mendeecees, who was sitting on the couch, scrolling through his own phone. His face was tense, his jaw clenched. He knew. Mendeecees, Yandy said, her voice dangerously calm. What the hell is going on? He looked up at her, his face blank, but his eyes, they said everything. For the first time in their marriage, Mendeecees had no words. Yandy's hands trembled as she held the phone tighter, her nails digging into the case. She felt her breath quicken, her heart hammering against her chest. She had been through too much with Mendeecees, stood by him through his prison sentence, defended him against the world, built a family with him, and now this. Another betrayal, another secret. Mendeecees finally spoke, his voice low, almost cautious. Yandy, listen, don't believe everything you see online. But Yandy wasn't hearing it. She shot up from the couch, her hands shaking as she paced the living room. Don't believe everything I see online? She let out a bitter laugh, throwing her arms in the air. So what exactly am I supposed to believe? That this woman just woke up and decided to randomly put your name on a baby? Mendeecees rubbed his face, clearly frustrated. I don't even know this girl like that. Oh, so you do know her? Yandy cut him off, her voice laced with anger and disbelief. Because 2 minutes ago you were acting like this came out of nowhere. Mendeecees exhaled sharply. Yeah, I met her years ago, but I swear to God, I never. Yandy's head snapped toward him, her eyes burning with fury. Don't you lie to me right now, Mendeecees. I swear, if I find out you're playing me. She stopped herself, shaking her head. You know what? I need to hear this from her. Before Mendeecees could react, Yandy was already grabbing her phone, scrolling through the mess of DMs she had been flooded with. And then, she found it. A message from Tasha Monroe herself. Call me if you want the truth. Yandy's fingers hovered over the number for a second. Her mind screamed at her to stop, to think, to process. But her emotions, they were in control now. Without another thought, she pressed call. The phone rang twice before a voice answered. Well, I was wondering when you'd call. Yandy's breath hitched. Tasha's voice was smooth, almost taunting. You got 1 minute to explain yourself, Yandy snapped. Tasha let out a soft laugh. Oh, sweetheart, trust me. You're gonna need more than a minute for this. Yandy gritted her teeth. Just tell me the truth. There was a pause. Then Tasha sighed, her voice shifting to something softer, almost sad. Look, Yandy, I never wanted it to come out like this. I tried to handle it privately. But your husband, she put emphasis on the word husband, as if it physically pained her to say it, left me no choice. I tried to reach out, I tried to talk, and he ignored me, just like he ignored our son. Yandy closed her eyes for a second, inhaling sharply. You expect me to believe that? You don't have to, Tasha shot back. But I got receipts, texts, pictures. And if you're real quiet, I might even have a few recordings. Yandy's eyes snapped open. Excuse me, Tasha hummed. Oh yeah, baby. You think I didn't keep evidence? You think I didn't record certain conversations? You and your man might be used to reality TV. But honey, I live this. Yandy's stomach dropped. She felt like the walls were closing in. I don't believe you, she whispered. Tasha sighed. All right then. I guess you won't mind if I drop a little something extra on my Instagram in about 5 minutes? Yandy's blood ran cold. She turned to Mendeecees, her face a mixture of rage and panic. What the hell is she talking about? Mendeecees looked stunned for a second. Then, suddenly, his phone started buzzing like crazy. Oh baby, it's already happening, Tasha murmured, grinning through the phone. You might want to check your timeline. Yandy pulled her phone away from her ear, her hands shaking violently as she refreshed her Instagram feed. And there it was. A new post from Tasha. The caption? Told you all I had receipts. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. #Mendeecees exposed. The attached screenshot was a message thread, one that looked like it had been between her and Mendeecees. And then, right below it, a voice recording. Yandy's entire body stiffened. Mendeecees was already reaching for her phone, his face drained of color. Yandy, don't press play. But it was too late. Yandy's finger hovered for half a second before tapping the screen. A crackle. Then, a voice. Mendeecees' voice. Listen, I can't do this right now. I told you I ain't trying to mess up what I got. You gotta stop calling me. Silence. Then, Tasha's voice, soft, trembling, almost heartbroken. So, what? You just gonna pretend like our son don't exist? Another silence. Then, a deep sigh from Mendeecees. I'll send you something next week. Just keep this between us. Yandy's world shattered. Her hands went numb. Her phone nearly slipped from her grip. She turned, slowly, painfully, to look at Mendeecees. He was frozen in place, his face a mask of guilt and regret. Yandy felt like she was going to be sick. You, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Mendeecees opened his mouth, scrambling for an excuse, but Yandy's hand shot up. Don't say a damn word. And then, before she even realized what she was doing, she grabbed her keys and stormed out of the house, leaving Mendeecees staring after her, his entire world falling apart around him. Yandy's hands were still trembling as she gripped the steering wheel, her mind racing at 1,000,000 miles per hour. She could barely see the road ahead, her vision blurred with a mixture of shock, anger, and devastation. The voice recording kept echoing in her head, over and over again. I'll send you something next week. Just keep this between us. Mendeecees had lied. He had looked her in the eyes, told her that this woman was making everything up, and now this. A recording of him basically admitting to something shady. Maybe even fathering a child behind her back. She needed answers. Now, Yandy didn't even realize where she was driving until she pulled into a parking lot and cut the engine. Her phone buzzed nonstop, calls from Mendeecees, texts from friends, fans blowing up her notifications after that damn post went viral. But she ignored all of it. Instead, she scrolled through her contacts, found Tasha's number, and pressed call. It rang once, twice, and then, well damn. That was fast, Tasha answered, her voice dripping with amusement. I need to see you, Yandy said, skipping straight to the point. There was a pause, then a low chuckle. Oh, so now you want to talk? I don't have time for games, Tasha, Yandy snapped. Where are you? Another pause. Then, meet me at Sullivan's Cafe in an hour. But just so we're clear, I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to show you the truth. Yandy ended the call without another word. An hour later, she found herself walking into a dimly lit cafe, her heart pounding in her chest. She spotted Tasha immediately, sitting near the window, wearing oversized sunglasses like she was some kind of celebrity. As Yandy approached, Tasha slowly removed her shades, revealing a smirk. Didn't think you'd actually show. Yandy pulled out the chair opposite her and sat down, folding her arms. I don't have time for small talk. Show me what you have. Tasha raised an eyebrow. Straight to business, huh? All right. She reached into her bag and pulled out a manila folder. Yandy's stomach twisted as Tasha slid it across the table. With hesitant hands, she picked it up and flipped it open. And then, her breath hitched. Inside were printed text messages, more recordings on a USB drive, and photos. Photos of Mendeecees, with Tasha, holding a baby. Yandy felt a wave of nausea hit her. The timestamp on the photos? Just last year. I know it's a lot, Tasha said, watching Yandy's reaction. But I told you, I don't lie. Your husband has been playing both sides. And guess what? That's his son. He knows it, and he's been hiding it from you. Yandy clenched her jaw, her fingers gripping the edge of the table so tightly they turned white. How do I even know that's his kid? Tasha let out a short laugh. Oh girl, We did a DNA test. I got the paperwork right here. She reached back into her bag and pulled out another document. Yandy's vision blurred as she read the results. 99.9% match. Mendeecees was the father. Yandy felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. Her head spun, her chest tightened, and for a moment, she thought she might actually pass out. This wasn't just a rumor. This wasn't just social media gossip. This was real. Tasha leaned forward, her voice softer now. I didn't want to be the one to destroy your family, Yandy. But I wasn't about to let my son grow up being someone's dirty little secret. He deserves better. Yandy was barely listening. Her mind was somewhere else entirely, replaying every conversation she'd ever had with Mendeecees. Every time he had sworn he was a changed man. Every time he had promised her there were no more secrets between them. And the whole time, he had a whole other child. Her hands clenched into fists. A storm of emotions raged inside her: pain, anger, betrayal. But one thing was clear: Mendeecees had to answer for this. Without another word, she stood up abruptly, nearly knocking over the chair. Tasha watched her carefully, sensing the storm brewing inside her. Where are you going? Yandy's eyes burned with fury. To get the truth, straight from him. She stormed out of the cafe, her body moving on pure adrenaline. She barely remembered getting back in her car, barely registered the drive home. But when she pulled up to the house, she saw Mendeecees standing outside, pacing. He looked up the second her car door slammed shut. Yandy. She didn't even let him finish. Shut up. He flinched. Yandy marched toward him, her hands trembling as she shoved the folder against his chest. Explain this. Now. Mendeecees hesitated, his eyes darting to the documents in her hand. Yandy, listen. It's not what you think, not what I think. She cut him off, her voice shaking. I just sat across from the mother of your child. I just looked at DNA results. I just saw photos of you holding that baby. What part of this isn't what I think? Mendeecees looked down, his jaw clenching. Say something. Yandy shouted. Anything. Mendeecees finally looked up, his eyes filled with guilt. And when he spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. I messed up. Yandy felt rage surge through her veins. Messed up. Mendeecees, you didn't just mess up. You had a whole damn child behind my back. He stepped closer, his hands reaching for hers, but she snatched them away. Yandy, please. No, she said, shaking her head. I stood by you. I defended you. I built a whole life with you. And you. She swallowed, her voice breaking. You lied to me. Over and over again. Mendeecees exhaled shakily. I was scared. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't want to lose you. Yandy let out a bitter laugh, wiping away a tear. Well, guess what? You just did. She turned and walked away, her heart pounding, her mind spinning. Mendeecees called after her, but she didn't stop, because at that moment, she knew everything had changed. Mendeecees stood frozen, his face pale as Yandy walked away from him. The weight of her words, the finality in her tone, it hit him like a ton of bricks. He had messed up before, but this was different. This wasn't some old mistake coming back to haunt him. This was now. This was real. And for the first time, he felt like he might actually lose Yandy for good. He rushed after her, grabbing her wrist just before she reached the front door. Yandy, please. His voice cracked with desperation. Don't walk away. Not like this. She yanked her arm free, spinning around with fire in her eyes. How else am I supposed to walk away, Mendeecees? With a smile. A thank you card for humiliating me in front of the whole damn world? I swear, I never wanted it to come out like this. Yandy let out a bitter laugh. Oh, so that's the problem? That you got caught? She shook her head, tears burning her eyes. Tell me the truth right now. How long were you gonna keep this from me? Mendeecees hesitated. That 1 second of silence was too much. Yandy let out a scoff, stepping back like she couldn't even stand to be near him. That's what I thought, she whispered. He ran a hand down his face, exhaling sharply. I was scared, Yandy. I knew it was wrong, but I didn't know how to fix it. I didn't want to hurt you. Yandy's voice shook with rage. You already did. And not just me. You betrayed our family, our kids, and now there's a whole baby involved in this mess? Mendeecees looked down, guilt written all over his face. Were you even gonna tell me? She pressed. I don't know. The words made Yandy's stomach twist. You don't know? She stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. You really thought you could just pretend this baby didn't exist? That Tasha wouldn't one day expose you. You were gonna let me find out like this. Mendeecees ran a hand over his head, his breathing uneven. I wanted to tell you, Yandy, but every time I tried, No. Stop. Yandy held up a hand, cutting him off. I can't listen to this anymore. She turned and walked inside, slamming the door behind her. Mendeecees stood there for a moment, staring at the closed door, before finally letting out a heavy sigh. But inside the house, Yandy wasn't alone. She barely made it into the living room before she saw Judy, Mendeecees' mother, standing there with her arms crossed. You wanna tell me what the hell is going on? Judy asked. Yandy swallowed hard, the lump in her throat growing by the second. Did you know? Her voice was barely above a whisper. Judy frowned. Know what? Yandy let out a shaky breath. That your son has a whole baby with another woman. Judy's face dropped. What? You heard me, Yandy said, crossing her arms. Tasha did a DNA test. It's his, and he's been hiding it from me. Judy took a step back, like the words had physically hit her. No, that can't be true. Believe it, Yandy said bitterly, because I just saw the proof with my own eyes. Judy turned toward the front door, her face twisted with fury, and before Yandy could stop her, she flung it open. Mendeecees, get in here now. Mendeecees, who had been pacing outside, turned slowly and hesitated before walking back inside. The tension in the room was suffocating. You got something to tell me, son. Judy's voice was dangerously calm. Mendeecees sighed heavily. Ma, don't ma me, she snapped. You better tell me why the hell I'm hearing about a secret grandbaby from Yandy instead of my own son. Mendeecees looked away, jaw clenched. Oh, so now you don't got nothing to say? Judy folded her arms. Let me guess. It's not what it looks like. You were scared. She let out a harsh laugh. Boy, you better start talking before I drag the truth out of you myself. Mendeecees sighed. It's true. Judy flinched. For a moment, the room went dead silent. Then, suddenly, Senmei. Judy's hand connected with the side of Mendeecees' head, making Yandy's eyes widen. You must have lost your damn mind, Judy spat. You really thought you could lie to your own wife, your own family? And what about that baby? That innocent child who didn't ask to be born into this mess? How dare you? Mendeecees held the side of his face, looking completely defeated. I'm sorry, he muttered. Judy shook her head in disgust. Sorry ain't gonna fix this. You broke this family, Mendeecees, and I don't know if you can put it back together. Mendeecees looked at Yandy, his eyes pleading. Please, baby, just. No, Yandy said, her voice ice cold. I'm done. Judy sighed and turned to Yandy. Baby, I know you're hurt, but I don't want to hear it. Yandy cut her off. Not right now. She turned and walked upstairs, leaving Mendeecees standing there like a broken man. And that's when his phone buzzed. It was Tasha, and the message made his blood run cold. Since you won't claim your son, maybe the world should know the truth. I'm going live in an hour. Hope you're ready. Mendeecees' hands shook as he read the words. His worst nightmare was coming true, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. As the screen fades to black, the tension lingers. Mendeecees' world is crumbling, and the truth is no longer in his control. Will Tasha really go live and expose everything? Will Yandy ever forgive him? And how will Judy react when the whole world finds out about the secret baby? One thing's for sure, this drama is far from over. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you think Yandy should give Mendeecees another chance? Or is this betrayal too big to fix? And what about Tasha? Does she have the right to put everything on blast like this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you don't want to miss the next shocking update in this unfolding scandal, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because trust me, This story is only getting started.